Coach, I know there's a lot to process, a lot to digest there with all that just transpired, but from your perspective, what did you see down the stretch that kind of gave Sacramento a little bit more of an edge?
I think that third quarter was, to me, the main stretch that got them back in the game. You look at a 36-12 quarter where we come out a little bit laxed, turn the ball over a couple times, not expecting them to fight back. So I think that was a big portion of the game. We did a good job of coming back, but then obviously we got to sustain that effort the entire time.
On a positive note, it just seemed like your size and length gave you an advantage all night. You got it to the paint a ton. Bol, Paolo, and Franz had their way inside. Could you just talk about their collective performance tonight?
Well, I mean, that's part of the reason, for starting that group. Their ability to, punish at the rim, obviously making sure we defend at the rim as well. Obviously Fox hit some tough shots down the stretch, including that last one. But again, that length is something that we're going to continue to, hone in on and make sure we continue to use it to our advantage.
Given what just transpired, what was your message to the team there after that last shot?
Well, we've talked about it. We talked about it pregame, and it's the same thing. This one stings for 24 hours. You let it sting, and then we got to come back, get our work in tomorrow, and then we got the Rockets coming in here. So understand what we can take from this, what we can learn from this, and then we've got to be able to move on to the next game.
Coach, Melissa Thomas with Florida National News. Just kind of piggybacking off of that question. Wanted to focus in on Paolo a little bit. Obviously, he led for tonight with 33. Kind of talk about what you want to really impress upon him heading into Monday's game.
Just continue to attack the basket. Obviously, we had 78 points in the paint. That's something that we're looking to do. Obviously, we would like to get to the free throw line a little bit more down the stretch. So our ability to just continue to attack, keep the attack mode, and then we got to just be able to sit down and guard down the stretch as well.
Jay Serrano, Orlando Magic HQ. So it seemed today the biggest difference was the bench points. You guys were outscored about 43-13. What could you attribute to kind of making sure you guys are more consistent and, similar to last game, kind of find the middle ground so that way we have more consistency throughout the rest of the games?
I think it's going to be a constant balance. Obviously, you got guys coming in, guys coming out. So just trying to find that right rotation of guys that are being able to play together, and obviously not wanting to run guys, into the ground. But our ability to just, guys obviously staying ready when their numbers are called, but just obviously guys coming in and out of the lineup, just got to make sure that, one, they stay ready, but just finding that right balance of the guys that are together on the floor.
Coach, Kira Patel, Orlando Magic HQ. Franz Wagner really had his way on the inside. A lot of pick and rolls were in between him and Wendell Carter. What can you attribute to what you saw in the Kings defense, the schemes they were running, the lineups they were putting out that made that sort of pick and roll a really sustainable go-to for you guys throughout the game, led him to get 31 points?
Well, they changed it up a ton, whether they had the big in it with Franz and Wendell or they put a small in there. There was ability for Wendell. When he rolls, he creates such a problem. Franz getting to the basket, being able to finish down there. They try to keep, when they're staying in coverages, they try to keep their big in front of the basketball, and Franz does a great job of getting downhill to attack.
Jamahl, sorry if you were asked this already. I walked in after you started, but you guys think had 9 turnovers in that third quarter. Are you seeing something consistent or a constant theme in those turnovers from game to game?
No, that third quarter, I think we came out a little bit lax. I think our intensity level, being up, I think 20 at that point, our ability to just come out and just continue to do the same things that we did to get us the lead, the consistency. But again, credit to Sacramento. They came out, turned the pressure up, did a heck of a job with the ball pressure. So you have to credit them for that.
What would you attribute to coming out lax in that way?
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that right now. I really just think that we got to come out with the same level of focus, of consistency, of doing the exact same thing.
Thank you, Coach Mosley.
Thank you, guys.
We'll be back.
Bol, I know there's a lot to process and digest there from everything that went down, but from your perspective, what did you see down the stretch, both in late in regulation, also in overtime, that kind of gave Sacramento a little bit of an edge?
I think it started with the third quarter. We just came out quite slow, and they just came out hot in the run, and that just gave them momentum for the second half.
Positive. You, Paolo, and Franz really had your way getting into the paint, scoring at the basket. Was that kind of the initiative going into the game to kind of use your size to your advantage?
Yeah, we talked about it a lot because they like to hug up on the three-point line. So we knew, on the rolls and, we would use like each other like as screens and like to get into the paint because they would hug up everyone else on the three-point line. And that's why we got a lot of points at the basket.
In those final seconds, obviously Chuma comes up with the steal, dunks to tie the game, then De'Aaron Fox with the game winner. I know it was a roller coaster of emotions in that moment, but what was the mentality like on the court, just kind of seeing it all play out?
Honestly, I thought we were going to another overtime, but he just dribbled down the court with pace, and he hit a pretty crazy shot.
Melissa Thomas with Florida National News. So I was asking Paolo this. I'd love to get your take on it. But what do you want to work on for yourself personally heading into Monday's game?
I think my defense down the stretch kind of like I need to be better on sitting down, especially against guards. I think that's something I need to focus on.
For yourself, a career night for you, just what kind of enabled you to go off like that, especially there down the stretch to hit some of those big shots?
For me, it's just being aggressive from the start. Anytime I'm just aggressive from the beginning of the game to the end, I think that's when I play at my best.
And what did you, another career night, or a career night as well for Paolo, what have you seen from him over the last few games that for him to be able to lead you guys?
Not the last few games, just the whole season in general. He's just been great, and I feel like he's been getting better each game, like a lot better. And he's played like he's been in the league for some time, so every game is just a step forward for him.
Bol, the Kings, they came back from that 20-point lead you guys had in that third quarter. Because what were they doing, or were you guys not doing, that allowed them to close the gap and make it a close game down the stretch?
It came down to they came out with way more energy than us, and that just hurt us because the game just started going their way, and then we're holding our heads down, and like they're going on a run, and we just need to come together collectively and just because like there's a lot of time left in the game, and we just got to keep our heads up.
I guess from your standpoint, just maybe the focus that a young team can lose, just not understanding maybe that you have to keep that same focus you had in the first half, you had to keep in the second half or the start of the third quarter because it's the NBA and teams can get hot like that in that way?
Yeah, most definitely, because like I said, that's kind of what happened. Like we were up and we were just happy with being up, and we thinking they're just gonna lay down. But it's the NBA. Teams go on like runs as quick as 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 12 minutes. But there was a whole 24 minutes left to play, and the momentum just shifted when they came out hot.
Thank you, Bol. Thank you.
Paolo, I know there's a lot to process and digest from that one with all that transpired, but how would you assess the way that game kind of finished out, especially down the stretch of overtime, kind of went back and forth?
Yeah, it was a back-and-forth game, and they started to hit some shots. Then we fought back, started to get some looks around the rim. We started to hit some shots, and then, it just became back and forth till the final second.
You seem to have your way all night getting into the paint. You took advantage of your size against that smaller Sacramento lineup. What did you see out there? What allowed you to sort of get into a rhythm, able to take advantage, not just with your scoring inside, but also with your playmaking as well?
Yeah, just wanted to use my size and ability to just get in the paint, finish around the rim, be aggressive, get into the rim. And then later in the game when they started, pulling way over or doubling, just wanted to kick out, find my teammates for open shots.
What was kind of the mentality like after Chuma made that dunk and then De'Aaron Fox makes the game-winning shot from near half court? What was your kind of mentality at that moment?
It's over. I mean, he got it off. There was no question about that. It's just that's how a game goes. It happened to me in college, first one in the league. So, you just got to give the credit. Fox got hot. The last 3-4 minutes of the fourth quarter and all the overtime, he was, carrying the load for them on offense, either finding open teammates or hitting shots. So he's a great player, and sometimes you just got to tip your cap to a guy like that. He made a hell of a shot.
Paolo, Kieran Patel, Learn the Magic HQ. 33 points, 15 rebounds, both of those career highs. What do you make of this game? Seeing that it's your best individual performance of the season, what can you attribute it to? What did you see from the Kings defense? What were they giving to you that led to this?
Just trying to be aggressive. I know I had an advantage. Just using my size to get to the rim. Didn't want to settle. You know, my three ball hasn't been falling, so teams are starting to play me just, you know, trying to bait me into those mid ranges, those threes. So me, I just didn't want to let them off the hook. I wanted to close the space and kind of force the issue and either score or find a teammate. So just being aggressive and then getting on the boards too.
Paolo, what was the message from maybe some of the veterans or even the coaching staff after a loss like this?
I mean, you just got to stick with it. Just like I said, you just got to tip your cap sometimes. I mean, we fought hard and had the game, you know, tied up, 5 seconds left, and then he hits a 35, 40-footer. So there's just not much you can do about that. So you just got to kind of bounce back. We got back in the gym tomorrow, get ready for the next one.
And in the third quarter, you guys had the 20-point lead. The Kings aren't coming back. What were you seeing from you guys that kind of allowed them to, make up that gap?
I mean, we started giving up the three-point line. They started penetrating, kicking, knocking down shots. Sabonis was consistent the whole game, getting buckets around the rim. And we just, I think maybe got a little stagnant. You know, a couple jumpers didn't fall, and they just capitalized every chance they had in the third quarter and they to make it a close game. But you got to expect that, I think. You know, in the NBA, it's too long of a game to ever get comfortable, whether you're up 20 points, 4 points. You know, these guys is great players. They gonna get hot and make shots. So you just gotta be able to move on and try and, take the blow and, win the game.
Paolo, Melissa Thomas with Florida National News. What's your personal goal heading into Monday's game? Like, what do you want to work on the most?
I'd like to hit some threes. That's my shot hasn't been falling from out there, but I'm gonna keep shooting them. They're gonna fall, and then just finish games. I think me, myself, the team, we right there every game. This one was probably the closest that we let slip away. So, we just got to keep learning, what we can do better. I know I had the post up on Fox. I thought I got fouled, kind of faded away, took a bad shot fading away from the basket. I should have just went up and finished strong, through the contact, not complaining for the foul. So that's a moment that I can look at and, carry it over.
Thank you, Paolo.